Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient. Been dealing with cancer since early 2021. Been doing great. I am so happy to be here with you in Texas and to share my screen with a truly incredible individual who I'll bring back to you again here in a second. But there's just so much that I'm thankful for, and I'm really looking forward to having a fantastic 2024, and I hope that you are as well. And at this time, I'd like to bring back on uh, Miss Tamron Little, who, we're just talking. We could have talked for several hours before we got on. I
Yeah.
said, hey, we better click this button to start recording this, otherwise we're not going to get it done. So at this time, I'd like to reintroduce Tamron Little. Please share with us who you are and a little bit about your story, and then we're going to get into a great topic.
Hello, everyone. As Mark said, I am Tamron Little. I am a 16-year and counting peritoneal mesothelioma survivor. I am a wife and a mother of four. I'm also a contributing writer for asbestos.com, where I share my story from a transparent perspective, and founder of Wit Survivorship. And I'm so glad to be here today.
Thank you so much, Tamron. Let's get into it. And we're talking about something, and we both kind of had like an aha moment. And and I'd like to thank my mom, who I know is going to be watching this. And my mom, she's very healthy and very sharp. And one of the things that she does is she makes puzzles. And she'll do 1,000 piece, 2,000 piece. And I just started thinking the other day, I started thinking that's kind of like what a cancer journey is. And let me uh, kind of reiterate, most people's cancer journey is a one-piece puzzle. In other words, they'll just go to the doctor and say, Doc, whatever you say, I'll do. But from our perspective, Tamron's and I, it's a lot like putting together a, many piece puzzle, which is your cancer journey. And so I'm going to hand it over to you, Tamron. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as you said, it that was an aha moment. And as you were actually saying that, it was just like, wow. I never thought of it that way. But, and as you were saying it about your mom and correlating to someone's cancer journey, you have to want to put that puzzle together. Your mom is dedicated. She pushes herself, she is motivated, she is inspired to put together puzzles after puzzles after puzzles. So, being your own advocate, you have to want it. The doctor's not going to want it as bad as you. Your family members is not going to want it as bad as you. You have to want to put your own puzzle piece together. You have to want to find the answers, find your options, find your best options, for your treatment. Ask those questions. And it's and during that journey, it does seem like you're putting together sometimes 1,000 pieces puzzle, and then you go to the next one and it's like a 5,000 piece puzzle. But one of the things that I've learned recently, and is that it's not always about the destination. You know, when I was first diagnosed almost 17 years ago, Mark, it will be 17 years next May. You know, I was so much thinking about, like, okay, being cancer free, and so it's like when we're on a way to a trip, all we can think about is getting there, is the destination. But what really is important too, is the journey. So while your mom is putting together the puzzle pieces, the, intellectual gatherings that she has, the, cognitive learning and the, memorization and the problem solving skills, all of that, we have to take into account. So with your cancer journey, the going to this specialist, the asking about this option, the going and trying this clinical trial, changing your diet up, exercising more, those are all puzzle pieces that we're putting together. And that is a part of the journey. And a lot of times, you know, I can speak for myself. I didn't immerse myself within the journey as I was going through treatment. But now that I am in my survivorship journey, I can be more present and I can really, take heed and really learn from my journey, because we learn things, and that is how I learned how to speak up for myself, doing this journey. And now I can speak up for others and things like that. So it's about the journey of putting the puzzle piece together. It's kind of like family game night. If you would ask my kids what is their favorite part about it, they would probably say that they won, you know. But, for me, it's the memories. It's, the memories that we are making. It is the laughter that, we are having together. It is that journey. It is that whole fellowship together, and they may not remember that. They just may remember that they lost to mom, that I lost to them and they got more right than I did, and, things like that. But this year has really taught me, during this journey of putting my puzzle together, is to enjoy each puzzle piece, learn something from each puzzle piece. And as I'm put my puzzle together, then I can take a step back and see how far I've came, you know? And so as I'm even talking to you, I'm just like getting this like revelation. I'm gonna have to write this down in my notes. Because this is really, really getting good. But that is how the journey is. Because like I said before on the previous podcast, you are in survivorship mode from the day of diagnosis. It's nothing that you're going to get out of, but just like the puzzle pieces, and, when you're putting together a puzzle and then you're really trying to find one, and you just keep, picking up this one and it looks like it's supposed to go in there, but it doesn't. You're like, man, I thought I had it. And so you're, scrounging around, trying to look, and then you find it. And then you're like, yes, you've hit a milestone. You've hit a milestone in your journey. You have rung that bell and things like that. But then after that, you've got some more puzzle pieces to put together. But it's all about the journey. It's all about the journey.
Absolutely. Well said, Cameron. And
Thank you.
you know, when you do find that piece of the puzzle that fits, I mean that's kind of like part of you know, you attain a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit
Mm-hmm.
a small piece of the whole picture, but you've
Mm-hmm.
attained a goal because
Mm-hmm.
you got that
A
puzzle piece.
milestone, yes.
Yes, you've got a
Mm-hmm.
piece of that puzzle that you were trying to, and so it's great to appreciate that piece that fits
Mm-hmm.
in, but you
Mm-hmm.
have more to do uh,
Mm-hmm.
in order to make the whole picture perfect, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about. And you mentioned some things like diet. Part of it, the journey is going through all the testing that you need,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
going through treatments and everything like that, going through changing things in your diet, changing
Mm-hmm.
your attitude,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
working on improving your physical health through exercise.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are important. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's so such a precious thing when you start seeing that puzzle come together.
Mm-hmm.
You start with one piece, and
Mm-hmm.
then you add another piece, and then you add
Yep.
another piece, and pretty soon you start seeing something. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's the beauty of it. And so I just thought about it the other day. I said, man, that's really, really incredible. And so yeah, I think that for
You
me
got to
that
definitely tell your mom
oh
that she
she'll
inspired
see
this combo.
she'll see this.
Hi, Mark's mom.
Yeah, in fact, she just turned 90 uh earlier this month.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's doing very
Wow.
well. So I just want to give a shout out. Hi, Mom. Thank you for everything, and
Such a
hope you have a
blessing.
great 2024. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I think that was a really um, aha moment for me
Mm-hmm.
to to kind of correlate that to what we're doing here. So let's talk about your writing
Mm-hmm.
and how did that start? And what exactly are you doing uh, today with all of the things that you do?
So it actually started 2015, 2014, 2015. I was on Facebook. It's like everything's worth is Facebook nowadays. But I was on Facebook and I just, ran across this ad commercial about the mesothelioma center. And I'm just like, wow, I've never heard of this, organization. So I wanted to learn more information about it. And I found out they had a support group and everything. And I'm just thinking to myself, why did it take me over a decade to find this place? But, so I reached out to them and Cara, she was so surprised because they had never met anyone, a survivor um, that was my age, that was 21. So she, asked if one of their writers could, call me and interview me because they would love to share my story. So they had shared my story. And that, to be honest, Mark, that was the first time that I had ever shared my story with anyone,
Wow.
with anyone. So it was hard. It was really hard. Um, but
And
it
I
was
understand what you
so,
mean by that.
yeah, it was very raw, but at the same time, it was it was raw, revealing, but at the same time, I felt like a weight being lifted. I felt um like I was doing something good because all along I was keeping it in here. Like my family knew, but I didn't want everybody to know because I didn't want people to look at me differently. I didn't want them to treat me differently. I didn't want people in the workplace knowing about it because sometimes when people hear the C word, then they feel sorry for you, or you don't have friends anymore for whatever reasons. So, but it just felt good, and so it was a lot to unpack. And the writer was just like, oh my gosh, so they published it, and it just it just went it just skyrocketed. Like, so many people were um reaching out and like, oh wow, who is this girl? I cannot believe this. My sister had it and my dad had it, and things like that. And so the following year they asked me um, if I would be willing to actually write, um, a part of my story myself. And I'm like, sure. Now, during that time, I was doing, some writing, but it was in the form of content creation because I had a blog and, I had like a fashion blog. So I would write about what I wore to church and, things like that, but nothing pertaining to, me being transparent and raw and things like that. And so I was just like, sure. Um, and after I did that, that one really got traction as well. So, they were thinking, wow, we have looked up on something, and I really didn't know that I had that in me. Um, I wrote a book during that time too about marriage, because I did get young, well, not get young, but I did get married young, and I felt like writing was an outlet for me to, get some things out and, things like that. And so that's how I became a contributing writer for asbestos.com, at the Mesothelioma Center. And, you know, just from that, God has opened up so many doors for me to write for other publications as well. And if you came across, any one of my articles or blog posts, it's different from others. I come from a very transparent perspective. Um, I don't sugarcoat anything, and I really just give my experience, because I feel like for the other cancer patients out there, what would they want to hear? Would they want to hear the foo foo? No, they would want to hear, okay, so how did you really feel? You know, how did that really happen? Instead of the textbook and, so I break things really down, plain language, and I am honest about my experiences, especially when it comes to mental health. I'm very transparent about that. So, like I said before, so now, I mean, I write about almost 10 articles per month now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it just, sometimes, Mark, I can be driving to work, I'm listening to a podcast or I hear something or something just comes to mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take a note of that because I'm gonna have to write about that. Or I hear another survivor talking, or they're asking me a question, or I get a DM and saying, hey, I really don't know how to ask this, and I feel like you would tell me the truth. So what about this, and that? And I'm just like, wow. So let me write about that, because this is what people really want to hear. They, really want to hear, how to navigate through that, how to be their own advocate, how to um, be prepared when you go to the doctor, or, how do I take care of my mental health as well as my physical health, things like that. And where can I go to get this help? And what resources are out there for me? Um, and so um I feel like the avenues that I am going down with my writing, it is for specific, people, but I do believe that I am reaching so many people. Mark, I get, emails from all across the world from people that said that they've read one of my articles. And I'm just like, me? And a lot of them are women. I do get some men, um, but just to hear them repeatedly say, you inspired me. You gave me hope when I thought there was no hope. I had a father reach out to me just recently, And his son is actually going through mesothelioma now. And he read one of my stories, and he reached out to me and he said, I just got to talk to you. He said, I know it may sound crazy, but I really want to speak with you. And I read some of your blogs, and they're so inspiring, and not just inspiring, but he said, you really have the love of God. And he said, I can see that, I can feel that through your writing. And when I called him, he was just so surprised. And he said, I can't wait to tell my son. And I'm just like, Lord, you have me here for a reason. When sometimes you kind of question things and then something happens. And I think it's just God confirming, it's just that providence of, God saying that you are right where you need to be in this moment. And I believe that that is, my writing is reaching people that I can't physically touch, you know, and I like that about it. And it is a way that I let out my thoughts. And I always promote journaling and just brain dumping, and doesn't even matter if things are in order or whatever. Just write whatever's on your mind. Just get it out. Because someday it might be a book. You never know.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I commend you for your work, and definitely keep it up, because you are reaching people, and that's what this is all about,
Hmm.
is having the ability to give back. And
Hmm.
you never know where something comes from or how it comes from sometimes. and
Hmm.
and and that's
Hmm.
the amazing thing about this journey, is you have a gift,
Hmm.
and a gift is not worth anything unless you share it.
Share it. Exactly. Exactly.
And you're doing uh phenomenal work, and I commend you. I really uh I mean, I love what you're doing. Absolutely love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
So then that brings us to our next topic, and that is your ministry. And so could you talk about that, and how that plays a part in your journey as well?
Sure. So, um, I didn't. So, growing up, I was, one of those churchgoers that went to church on Christmas and Easter, and you know, but I always loved going to church, and learning about the Bible, and it was just something that was there. And not knowing that my husband, we're the opposite. He grew up in church, so both of his parents are in the ministry, and things like that. And just going through things and being at my lowest, and when I didn't have anything at all, but I knew that I had God and I had his word. you know um there were some times, some years and years ago, um where that's all I had. I was going through so much, and my pastor told me that my situation may not change in the time that I wanted it to, or how I wanted it to pan out. She said, but my prayer for you is that God will change your perspective, how you see the situation, how you look at it. So you're going to be going through the same thing, but your mindset is going to be changed. And when your mindset is changed, you're going to go through it differently. And
Well
those
said. Well
words,
said. I love
yeah,
that.
those words stuck with me. And at first, I didn't get it. And I'm just like, okay, but then it really dawned on me, and I, started really reading. And I was praying in church, like just really crying out one Sunday. And, you know, I knew it was God calling me and, calling me to minister. And even before that, I have always been that friend that everyone goes to for inspiration and encouragement and, sound advice and, um, and I never thought that it would lead me in that direction, but I kind of saw my life going in that direction without me trying to push it in that direction. Um, so I know it was God leading me and, just bringing women to me, asking me for prayer and advice and encouragement. And, I was using my platform on Instagram and, Facebook to really be that encouragement, and I was writing about my experience, and it was just evolving, and more and more people found out that I was a cancer survivor, and so they were just looking at me like, how? And you have 4 kids and you had that, like, and you're living your life like this, like, make it make sense. And so I'm like, okay, so me bringing my story and my testimony and being an inspiration to others. So I became an ordained minister. Well, first I was a licensed minister. Now I'm an ordained minister, and I have been a minister since um, 2012, 2013.
Wow.
So yeah, so I am one of the youth ministers at my church, and I still um, have a women's prayer group, and a women's Bible study group, and I love it. I mean, when you don't have nothing at all, and a lot of people can't, say that, Mark, but when you are given like the two options, okay, you have cancer, you can die, here, or you can, you know, take your faith, take up your bed and walk. Like, what are you going to choose to do? And that having cancer really strengthened my faith. And as I always say, it activated my crazy faith, because the crazy faith is having faith in something, not just something ordinary, but something extraordinary. And people are looking at you like you're crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy, but my faith is, you know. So when people ask me what crazy faith is, that's exactly what I say. When you are believing God to do something, and people look at you and say, that girl is crazy, or that guy is crazy, or we're like, how do they think that's going to happen? But I'm activating my crazy faith. And so that is how that turn for me came to life, because I felt like that's all I had. It was just like, okay, I got two choices. What are you going to do here? And so, I got into the word of God and really read the scriptures for what they were intended for, and gave God his word back, because God will never lie, you know. And it's like, by your stripes I am healed. But like I said before about the puzzle, you got to want it. You got to believe it, because faith without works is dead. So you can't just keep talking. You got to activate it. You got to be working. You got to be doing something. You have to be moving to put that puzzle piece together, because the puzzle is not going to put itself together. You know, your
I
diagnosis is not going to just hang out and wait. No, you have to do something about it.
I love that. Absolutely love that. I have one couple few last questions for you.
Hmm.
So what do you say to people that come to you and they say, "Oh, I got cancer and I'm praying like crazy."
Hmm.
What do you say to that?
Well, first I would say, okay, but do you believe? You can pray all day. You can shout to the rooftop. But the question is, do you believe what you're praying for? Do you believe it? And I was listening to a podcast by Dr. Tony Evans today, and he was talking about how Elijah was praying for the rain, and how he was not only praying, but he had stooped, and kind of like a woman that stoops and kind of crouches to have a baby. And when you are birthing something, you know, it's going to cause a little pain. It's going to cause some, sacrifices. But you can't just pray amiss. You can't just pray like a routine. You have to feel it. You have to believe it. Believe it like your life is dependent on it, because it is. So if someone would say, yeah, I'm praying like crazy, first thing I would say, but do you believe? And even though you're praying, what are you doing after the prayer?
There you go.
Because some people just get up and wherever, and then they just think it's going to fall from the sky, you know, but you have to be doing something. You have to be activating your faith. You have to be, working towards something, because it's not going to knock on your door. Well, it can, but I mean, you have to be showing God that you believe, and you got to believe that from your heart. Your mother can't believe that for you. Your husband can't believe that for you. You have to believe that wholeheartedly what you are praying for is going to happen. So people can say that they've been praying, 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 and they don't believe.
I come across so many of people like that, and they tell
Mm-hmm.
me, "Oh, I pray like crazy," and I ask them, "What else do you do?" And and I get stunned silence many
Mm-hmm.
times, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
"What do you mean?" Well, that's all I can
Mm-mm.
do,
Mm-mm.
and I say, "Really?" It doesn't. It doesn't really work like that. I don't think. I
Right.
mean,
It doesn't.
yeah.
It doesn't. Some people, they take the first clause of scripture and don't get the latter clause, you know? So, um, people, and it can come into the misinterpretation of, what people think prayer is. But once you know better, you do better. So, I do come across a lot of people like that, Mark, and some maybe my family members, but and and this is and this is how,
We'll leave it at that.
yeah, and this is how you will really see, like we were talking before about the people who really want help, is that when you pose a question or when you give them a solution and they follow through with that solution, or they say, you want me to do that? It's going to take all that. They're not ready,
Right. Right.
and so when you continue to say those things, those type of people will get less and less of reaching out to you, calling you, texting you, because they know what you're going to say, and they know that you're not going to give in to that, because you're going to say, well, what are you doing after that? After you're praying like crazy, or hey, you know, go and get these supplements and start moving your body, and, things like that. But you will definitely be able to depict the people who really want it.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Tamron, we're up at the top of the hour. So I have one final question for you.
Mhm.
What is your wish for the world in 2024?
Ooh, my wish. Hmm. My wish for the world in 2024 is get to know God for who He is, and He will let you in on your purpose. Um, it is a lot of confusion going on, and God is not the author of confusion. But I think if they get to the heart of the matter, then people won't chase after this and chase after that and chase. It's kind of like a rat race. But I think one that will definitely be my wish is to get back to the basics and get to really know God for yourself, and allow Him to show His glory to all men.
Wow. I can't say anything else to that. Beautifully, beautifully said. Thank you so much, Tamron. As usual, it's been an absolute honor and a blessing to talk to you and to hear your point of view, which is absolutely phenomenal. Uh, Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Uh,
Thank you.
I
Thank you for
really
having
appreciate.
me.
Oh, I really, really appreciate you, and I hope you have a very, very blessed, you and your family, a very blessed 2024. May it be everything that you pray for it to be. And
Amen.
I'd also like
Same
to
to you.
thank you so much. I'd like to thank every one of you out there for joining us here at To Be Your Own Hero and make 2024 the greatest and put the effort
Mhm.
in every single day because every single day is precious. Every single day
Mhm.
is a blessing and
Mhm.
take advantage of it because we only go around once. So
Mhm.
let's make it once done right. Thank you
Mhm.
so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us at To Be Your Own Hero. Please like, subscribe, and make a comment in the comment section. And we will see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Bye-bye. Ah.